I gotta say, this was one of the better episodes, in my opinion. This week's episode of The Flash dealt with the character of Plastique, or at least the episode was called Plastique. And basically, the story with this one is that they come across the main characters, the team over at Star Labs, Barry Allen and his team over at Star Labs, come across another metahuman. This time, a woman who was formerly in the army. She had just gotten back from a tour in, I believe, Afghanistan when the explosion happened at Star Labs, and she, how did it happen? She got some shrapnel stuck in her system or something like that, and now whatever she touches explodes. So her powers are sort of similar to Gambit, but she can't really control what blows up. If she touches something, then it automatically just kind of explodes after a few seconds. So she can't really control it yet. So she's trying to deal with this, and she's approached by Barry and his team, saying like, we can help you, blah blah blah. While at the same time, she's being pursued by General Eiling, who is freaking played by Clancy Brown. All right. Now, Clancy Brown, this is not his first time delving into the DC universe. For any fans out there, he voiced Lex Luthor in many different iterations of the character, and I believe he's coming back to voice Lex Luthor again for Lego Batman 3. I could be mistaken, but I hope that's the case, because honestly, he's my favorite Lex Luthor. But there's General Eiling, and in addition, Iris is working on her blog. She's writing about the Streak. He's not called the Flash yet. He's called the Streak. He's saving people. She's writing about him, and that potentially makes her a target for any metahuman. First of all, I really like this episode, I have to say. Or not only did we get some variety from the normal episodic formula, which is, find evil metahuman, stop evil metahuman. But also we actually got some really nice character interactions, and I believe the character interactions more so than any previous episode before this. Specifically, Barry's interactions with his new friends over at Star Labs, Cisco and Caitlin. So again, getting back to the whole breaking the formula thing. This woman, Plastique, is by no means a bad person. She just wants to get rid of these powers. She doesn't want these powers. They are destructive. They cannot be used to help people in the same way that Barry's speed can, and that could that can definitely pose an interesting conflict for her down the road. Now, we're not going to get to see that because of what happens at the end of this episode, which is unfortunate. I think we could have potentially gotten some very interesting story arcs out of this character, but comics, they could find a way to bring her back if they really want to. I think her death would have been a little bit more impactful if they had saved it for a subsequent appearance, instead of just killing her off in the episode that she premiered in. But that whole climax was really the only big issue I had with this episode. But I like the conversations that she and Barry had. I like how she said, have they ever tried to get rid of your powers? And Barry's like, they've taught me to control my powers, and I was told that I was given these for a reason, and she can't really see that. And it's not handled in a way where she's overly angry. Her performance, I don't know who plays her, but her performance really comes off as just really trying to grasp everything that's been going on recently. So it's not really angry, just kind of in shock and kind of ostracized from society because she can't really get close to anyone anymore. So it's kind of like Rogue from X-Men. I know a lot of people have a problem with Anna Paquin's portrayal of Rogue in the X-Men movies, but I actually really like it, and I think some of that has been incorporated, or some of that same same mentality, or at least character mentality, has been incorporated into this character. Bet, I believe her name was. So she's good. I like how they broke the formula with that. How they're really showing that not all metahumans are bad people. Not all metahumans are going to use their powers for selfish gain. This, like I said, this woman actually had the potential for depth. I picked up on this maybe because I enjoy the Marvel movies. I don't know, but But when Barry is out drinking with Iris, Eddie, Caitlin, and Cisco, he keeps taking shots. He's taking a bunch of shots at super speed, and he's like, nothing. I can't get drunk. And they're like, oh well, that's what happens. I mean, your body just kind of burns through it. Oh, okay. So it's kind of like when Captain America, with Captain America not being able to get drunk because of his increased metabolism. So they actually put a bit of an interesting variation on that, in that Caitlin comes up with this mixture. We have no idea what it is, and she says, "Okay, now you should be a little buzzed. Are you a little buzzed?" And he says, "Yeah." Oh, okay, it's gone now. So that small step to eventually be getting him able to get drunk again. I like that little extra step they put on that, if even though it was primarily for comedic effect. But it gives these characters a chance to breathe. It gives them a chance to interact. I like the interactions between Barry and Detective West this time around. How Barry was able to disguise his voice, doing this cool thing with his vocal cords, and West is like, oh, that is cool. That is cool yet funny. So yeah, I like a lot of the character interactions, but really where I had a problem with this episode was the last 10 minutes or so. Not that they're terrible, but I just felt they were a little rushed, because Wells, the character of Wells, he speaks to Bet Plastique, and he says, General Eiling is going to keep hunting metahumans, and as a soldier, isn't it your job to protect innocent people? I mean, you should totally go kill Eiling. And that's what he says. I mean, he's like, you should totally go kill General Eiling, and she's like, I should, and off she goes to kill General Eiling. So yeah, I thought that was rushed, and again, the climax I thought was a little underwhelming, considering what happened last time. But again, it didn't really do anything to destroy the episode, and Clancy Brown in particular was pretty good this episode. You could say I was geeking out, because Clancy Brown has become sort of this, I don't want to say a fanboy icon, but he has definitely done quite a bit of genre films, or genre films and TV shows, because the Kurgan from Highlander, Lex Luthor, I think he had a small role in Cowboys and Aliens, which didn't do that well, but I digress. And isn't he Mr. Krabs in SpongeBob? I don't know. I don't watch SpongeBob, but yeah, Clancy Brown did a really good job as General Eiling. I mean, he has the presence for it, where you believe he's this very powerful military figure. The character of Eiling was portrayed pretty well. Granted, I don't really know that much about Eiling. I've really only seen him in Justice League, where he was a member of Cadmus and he was strictly against metahumans. And this one, they actually tried to give him a little bit of depth. I mean, he's like studying metahumans. We can protect soldiers, blah blah blah. So yeah, I like the way that they portrayed Eiling. I think Clancy Brown was a very inspired choice. It may have been a nod to his previous role as Lex Luthor in terms of casting, but again, he fit the role nicely, and overall, I like this episode. Like I said, the climax could have used a little work. I think it was a little too rushed, especially in terms of some of the character motivations. And I think I don't really think it was a particularly smart move, or at least talking long term. I don't think it was a particularly smart move to kill off the character of Bet this early. I think it would have been much more impactful if we had gotten more time to know her and then kill her off. But like I said, it was still a fairly enjoyable episode. And speaking of that, this is a spoiler. That little stinger at the end with the character of Gorilla Grodd. I have no idea how they were going to do Gorilla Grodd on TV. Especially not, I don't want to say in this realistic world, but at least in this sort of hyper-realistic world. I have no idea how they're going to do Gorilla Grodd. I mean, because I don't really think they're going to be able to use complete CGI. because they're on a TV budget, and the CGI on this show is already kind of on the fence as it is. Really, the CGI is not up to movie quality, but up to this point, I haven't really expected it to be. You can't really expect a CW show to have the same computer generated budget as something like X-Men: Days of Future Past with the character of Quicksilver. And up to this point, they've actually done pretty well about that, and finding creative ways to use his powers without necessarily over exploiting it to the point where it's just an effects show. With the character of Gorilla Grodd, who is essentially a talking gorilla with psychic abilities, if it was a movie, I would say, maybe go for motion capture or performance capture like they've done with the new Planet of the Apes movies. Maybe have Andy Serkis play him. If I'm being a little on the nose, maybe have Andy Serkis play him. But a TV budget, I don't really know. I don't really think they can do performance capture on TV, or at least not enough to where it doesn't look completely ridiculous or completely cartoonish. Maybe they can do some kind of practical effect. Maybe a combination of a guy in a suit and an animatronic, sort of maybe doing like what they did with the Master on The Strain, because that was a practical effect and it looked really good. So I don't know how they're going to do Gorilla Grodd. It was a nice nod, I will give it that, and a nice way to tie it in with the damaged relationship between Wells and Eiling. But again, I don't know how they're going to do it. Yeah, a bit of an odd reference to put in, Gorilla Grodd this early, but I'm curious.